Today we're looking at the history of the baldknobbers. Hello, welcome to the Daily Bellringer. Please don't forget to subscribe and take a look at the questions down in the description. Also, don't forget to check out dailybellringer.com where you'll find more resources that go with many of the Bellringer videos. In the years following the American Civil War, the United States entered into a time period known as Reconstruction. During this time, the nation was trying to piece itself back together after 4 years of bloody fighting. One of the major challenges was maintaining law and order in the wild and often lawless frontier regions. The baldknobbers were a group formed during this time to address issues of lawlessness in the Ozarks and southwest Missouri. Their story is both fascinating and complex, as they started with good intentions but eventually became notorious for their violent methods. Today I am here at the Shepherd of the Hills Outdoor Theater in Branson, Missouri, where on evenings during the spring and summer, an outdoor drama is performed that tells the story of the citizens of southwest Missouri and the story of the baldknobbers. The group's name came from treeless summits of the Ozark Mountains called Bald Knobs, where the first group of men met to organize the group. These men were initially local farmers and townspeople who were frustrated by the lack of law enforcement in their area. After the Civil War, crime and corruption was common in many regions of the country, and southwest Missouri was no exception. Local authorities were often unable or unwilling to deal with outlaws and criminals. Many of these outlaws were former Confederates known as bushwhackers. This lack of law and order led to a rise in vigilante justice, or in other words, common citizens taking the law into their own hands. The first group of baldknobbers was led by a local citizen named Nat Kinney and formed in Taney County in 1883. Kinney, who was a veteran of the Union Army, argued that over 30 men had been shot and murdered in Taney County since the Civil War came to an end, and not one murderer had been brought to justice. Kinney, along with others, sought to find those responsible and reestablish law and order. They began by targeting known criminals and those they believed to be corrupt. The group would wear disguises to hide their identity, with each chapter of the baldknobbers developing their own style of mask, some with horns and elaborate stitching. Initially, their actions were supported by local citizens who were desperate for peace and security. Gradually, their numbers grew, as it is estimated that there were over 900 baldknobbers riding throughout southwest Missouri, enforcing their own interpretation of the law. However, the methods of baldknobbers quickly turned violent. They used intimidation, beatings, and even murder to enforce their own brand of justice. This approach soon led to fear and resentment among the community, especially when innocent people were targeted or when personal vendettas were settled in the name of law and order. The success of the original group in Taney County led to the formation of similar groups in surrounding counties. These new chapters adopted the same name and methods, expanding the influence of the baldknobbers throughout the region. However, as the group grew, so did internal disagreements. One of the major issues that led to division was the increasing brutality of their actions. Some members believed that the group had gone too far and that their violent tactics were no longer justified. This led to a split, with some members leaving to form their own factions or abandoning the movement altogether. By the late 1880s, the baldknobbers were no longer a unified group, and their activities began to not be supported by the local citizens. The turning point for the baldknobbers came in 1887 with the murder of two prominent citizens, William Edens and Charles Green, by the Christian County chapter of the baldknobbers. These killings shocked the community and led to a significant public outcry against the baldknobbers. Law enforcement, now with the support of the outraged public, began to crack down on the group. In fact, anti-baldknobber groups began to form. Several baldknobbers were arrested and put on trial for their crimes. The most notable trial was that of the leader Nat Kinney, who was acquitted of murder but later killed in an act of revenge by members of an anti-baldknobber group. Many other members were convicted and received various sentences, including hangings and prison terms. By the early 1890s, the baldknobbers had been effectively disbanded, and their reign of terror came to an end. Today, the baldknobbers are remembered through various historical accounts, folklore, entertainment, and literature. The book Shepherd of the Hills by Harold Bell Wright, published in 1907, tells the story of the people of the Ozarks in the 1880s and the baldknobbers. What began as a well-intentioned effort to protect a community from crime ended in a wave of violence and fear. The story of the baldknobbers serves as a reminder of the dangers of taking the law into one's own hands and the importance of a fair and just legal system. So with that, hopefully you learned something, and thanks for watching.